Well, I'm talking with Ian Plenderleith from Manx Gas. This is your first time we've had a chance to get to talk to you. Lots going on, obviously. Just remind us, how did you get this position? What happened that there was a change of guard at the top, first of all?
There was. It wouldn't be proper of me to comment on the departure of Tony because I wasn't involved in any of those discussions. But I was approached by the owners of the company. They asked me if I would be interested in coming working in the Isle of Man and across the Channel Islands as Group Managing Director of Manx Gas, Guernsey Gas and Jersey Gas. They approached me as they'd come across my work in Dee Valley Water, where they were particularly impressed with what we'd done, improving the standards of customer service.
You missed the utilities, I see from your CV, really. You like utilities?
I am utilities. I've done electricity and water for 27 years, about half of that in the UK and about half of that overseas. So you
describe yourself as a firefighter then? Do you come into troubled positions and sort things out?
No, I've done both. My first position as Chief Executive, I was Chief Executive of Tallinn Water for 6 years, and certainly there, I was inheriting a very well run company. And of course, the opportunity there is how to continue that success.
Was this company well managed, do you think, when you took it over?
It's far too early for me to say about the overall. What I would say is, if I look at the health and safety performance of the organisation, it's absolutely exemplary. It's as good as you're going to find.
Not quite my question, really. The question was, how well run is the company?
But I'm giving you the answers of that now.
Yeah,
if I look at the health and safety performance, that's part of the management of the company.
Okay, how's the management of the company?
Well, again, that's exemplary,
Mm-hmm.
And the people, the managers who have set up the processes and procedures and systems, that's exemplary performance. That's as good as you're going to get. And the first thing you're doing when you're a director of an organisation is ensuring that your staff are kept safe each and every day, and especially in an industry like the gas industry, that the general public is kept safe each and every day.
Okay.
So that's the first thing you have to do. The second thing you have to do from a management perspective is understand the quality of the assets. Have the assets been invested in? Are the assets reliable? Are the assets resilient? And coming into the organisation, the foundations that are in place are exemplary. There's a superb performance in health and safety.
Foundations. There's code here going on saying there's obviously room for improvement. You give me stats?
I think there are areas where I would be looking to improve the performance of the organisation, especially in the areas such as customer service,
communication,
how we improve our customer service.
Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, we'll come to that in a minute. Agenda has an item about you this month, just literally published at this minute, and I think the first line really was quite a grabber. You want to make this, in 2 years, the best utility. I think you said the UK, but we'll say the British Isles to make it more polite. Is that fair?
I think
you
it's fair
keep to that,
say,
do you?
Oh, absolutely. I would expect our levels of customer service and our levels of performance to stand comparison with the very best in the sector in the UK.
So it's not there yet. So you've got some way to go, do you think?
In some areas, there are areas for room for improvement. There are some areas where maybe it's just a question of getting better information in from the organisation and understanding performance in a better way. As I say, the reporting perhaps within the organisation could be improved. But yes, there are areas
could be improved. Surely that's not a could. That's a definite. I mean, everything seems to have fallen by the wayside on the communication aspect, on the tariffs and the interaction you were having before your time, obviously, with customers. But you've done your research. You know what we're talking about here. Demonstrations outside this building, demonstrations outside Timber. Something was almost unheard of in the Isle of Man.
Okay.
Constant and relentless sort of going at the company and damaging your brand, no doubt, at the same time.
I certainly am more than happy to discuss with you my approach to communication and my approach to tariff setting and the issues that you've described. That's a problematic issue of the introduction of the banded standing charge. Certainly where I am at the moment, I joined the company December the 8th, just 3 months ago. You look at that, there are lots of different stakeholders, customers, politicians, regulators who have an opinion on that. And it's very important that you take a step back and listen to all of those various opinions that have been put forward. And we're certainly going through a process now of ensuring that we have been listening and we will be listening further to what those groups have to say, and especially customer groups. It's very, very important for me that we have proactive dialogue with the various customer groups to understand what customers actually want from Manx Gas in terms of setting a standing charge.
I can answer all that for you. They want lower gas bills, basically, and they're not going to get them because you make 9.99% profit regardless of what happens. Therefore, how you get to that point, you're going to still charge people for the product and clearly make a profit for yourself. Indeed. That's your job, right? I mean, you're a private company. That's your,
Indeed. I think there are two aspects to that. First and foremost, you said you're going to tell me what customers want. I think what I'll be doing is ensuring that we listen to customers. So we will be setting up some focus groups. We'll get people in. We'll get a cross-section of customers in. We'll listen to what they have to say. And then we'll bear that in mind in terms of how we set our tariff charges.
Okay. You've seen the books. Is it fair the way the bandings work? I mean, the heavy duty users v the light users and all these different bandings, yet the price of the gases, I think, is the same on all of them anyway. But, is there a way out of this situation? Will those who can afford more pay more, and how to get to that end?
I think there are probably 3 points I'd make on this with you. First and foremost, you can see why the banded structure was put in place. The idea being really to smooth out bill levels, across winter and summer where there are significant variations. And if I was looking at that, most people have an income which is fairly consistent across the year. So an attempt to try and make the bill levels consistent is not necessarily a bad thing to do. However, there has been some rejection of that. That's not necessarily what customers seem to want, and I say seem because we've not spoken to them all yet.
You haven't spoken to customers yet, or you've not?
No, I've just told you we're just going to engage in customer focus groups so I can listen and understand what they want to say.
And you'll be at those yourself, will you?
I will attend some of them, but sometimes it's important that I'm not there. It's important that you have an independent moderator in those groups so that people feel free, to express their opinion without somebody such as myself sitting over their shoulder. So that's the first thing I would say about it. Now, secondly, in terms of how we resolve that, of course, there are different ways of resolving the banding charge issue. That's exactly why we will have those focus groups. And if customers say they would prefer to return to the old mechanism, how it was previously, or if customers say perhaps there's a slightly different way we can do this, that's more in our interest, that we think better reflects what we want, then of course we will listen to that. And if it's implementable, we will implement it.
There's this report and the committee the Chief Minister set up. You've been involved in that, no doubt, have you, since you've been here, that the actual looking into how it's all operating. Isn't that a committee in itself that's coming up with ideas on the future?
I haven't been spoken to the Gas Regulatory Review Committee as yet, no.
You haven't?
No, there was an initial meeting planned, but certainly since that point in time we've not been invited to speak again yet.
So your predecessor did all that, so it's underway, because I think they're going to report soon, I think, isn't it? And OT involved and that sort of thing.
I couldn't comment, as I've not been involved in the discussion with them as yet.
How does the Isle of Man compare with the other parts of the operation, Jersey, Guernsey, as you said there? I mean, they don't seem... Do they have the same banding? Do they have the same problems? Or is this a Manx problem that's being raised by Barry and his guys who started picketing?
No, the tariff structure is consistent across all 3 islands.
So why is the Isle of Man standing out as the one that didn't like it? Is that because simply this group got together and started waving placards?
I couldn't comment why the people of the Isle of Man would react differently. All I can say to you is now is we're more than happy to engage with the public of the Isle of Man, I say through focus groups and other dialogue, to ensure we listen to what they have to say.
Do you see your job here as a long-term thing, or are you a firefighter that comes in, sorts things out and will move on?
Oh no, I'd be looking to be here for a number of years. I've been to the Isle of Man previously, but that's only, I'd never been out of Douglas prior to that. And certainly since being here, I've had a chance to have a look around the island, and what a beautiful place it is. So no, I'm looking at this as a long-term position.
And finally, the word for customers, what hope can you give them that they will see a change, and how quickly would that change likely to happen?
I think I can give you an indication straight away as to how we will be looking to engage with customers and treat customers fairly. Looking forward, I think the banded standard charge system actually has a review date when customers move across bands. I can tell you now that nobody will be increasing their tariff banding this year, so there will be nobody going up. Those who go down will go down, but nobody will be moving up through the banding structure this year.
And at the end of the day, you do still take away this 9.99%, don't you? I mean,
that's the rate of return that's within the regulatory agreement.
And do you see in the future that will have to be reviewed under whatever committee that comes up with this, a new formula that doesn't automatically do that? And would you be relaxed about that?
Of course I would be relaxed about that. The way to look at that is professionally. You look at how the cost of capital is established, and you know, we would certainly expect to be discussing that with the OFT and the Manx government in the months ahead.
Because you can't see there's ever been nothing but a monopoly on the Isle of Man. It's just too small for other operators presumably to come in.
Well, certainly nobody's going to come and build another gas network here, are they? That's not going to happen. We don't actually have a monopoly in terms of heating service, central heating service. You know, you can choose electricity, you can choose oil, but you know, we certainly believe that the quality of the product that we have, and the quality of customer service, and the risk and reliability and the resilience of our network mean it's a very, very attractive offer for people actually to choose gas.
And you say you've got these focus groups, but will you be willing to meet with Barry and his people, or you know, if they knock on your door, are you open to hearing criticism, or is it purely under your terms of focus groups that you'll be listening?
No, I'm happy to listen and discuss with customers, you know, when the opportunity arises and the time frames arise. And I don't look at it as criticism. You know, customers they're a valuable stakeholder group. They're entitled to an opinion, and it's important that we listen to those opinions, because if we don't listen to those opinions, we won't be able to provide the levels of service that customers want.
Okay.
As you yourself pointed out, you know, you could say we're a monopoly in some situations. That's a privileged position. So as a consequence of being in that privileged position, you have to deliver the highest levels of customer service, and you will only do that if you listen to your customers.
And I think we should book you in every, year or 6 months, whatever. Are you happy to do an update every time?
I will be very, very proactive in terms of the communications of the company. We will be putting out an operations and customer service performance report every 6 months going forward, so people can understand, you know, the quality of the service that we have given. And if we've not done so well, we'll be brutally honest as well and say things haven't gone so well. You know, it's very, very important, as I said, for me, that you have dialogue with customers. That's a two-way communication. You know, they're expecting, as I mentioned earlier, high quality assets, and they're also expecting, you know, good responsiveness from the teams when there are a problem. And if I could give you an example, you know, it's been a very, very cold winter. We've had a number, you know, of different, as a consequence of that, we've had more public reported calls about problems on the network over the winter period. And the teams here in Manx Gas have responded in a fantastic manner to that. You know, our public reported emergencies, we responded to 100% of them within 1 hour, you know, across the winter period. You look at the standards of service in the UK, 97% only is what they're achieving in 1 hour. So, you know, I think there are things we should be very, very proud of about the customer service that's delivered, you know, by the people and teams of Manx Gas.